What's up, guys? Good morning. Well, I guess it's morning for me. Um, Happy Mother's Day. I'm putting out this recording for you guys so you can watch it when you would like, and then just kind of give you a breakdown of the markets going into this week. So, first things first, we can take a look at SPY. Um, One of the major things I'm seeing here is a little bit of warning signs going into this week. So we've got our 52-week high right here. I think it's very possible that we go test this area. We've got resistance right here, but ultimately we got that 52-week high and all-time high right up here. I believe the actual level is 524.61. So we want to watch out for that. But on top of that, we've just got we have had this push. So we had this ABC pattern and now have had this push right into 2 ATR and saw a little bit of selling pressure on Friday. We had a little move up in volume as well. But so that's kind of what we're looking at here. We've got a few warning signs, so let's kind of walk through that. So first one is we're at 2 ATR, but we do have a squeeze, so that can usually give us a greater than expected move. It's just a matter of, you know, can we push higher? Typically, moves terminate at that 2 ATR level, so we always want to be aware of that, especially on the daily time frame. We don't really have anything going on in the 4 hour or the 2 hour, but on the 30-minute, we've got a squeeze. Okay. And so we've got a 30-minute squeeze. This can kind of trigger the next action typically as it typically does. Usually these kind of trigger those trending days and smaller pushes rather than a daily squeeze. So like if we go look at here, this 30-minute squeeze triggered this downside move. 30-minute squeeze triggered this upside move. This downside move was 30-minute squeeze. This upside move was 30-minute squeeze. This downside move was a 30-minute squeeze. So you can see these more shorter duration movements and fluctuations in the market typically come from these 30-minute squeezes. So we want to watch out for that. Okay. And so from here, this is something that we want to pay attention to. Nothing here yet is bearish. The only thing is that we are at 3 ATR on or 2 ATR on the daily time frame. Now, but so there's a couple levels you want to pay attention to. This level right here, the 519.60 area, this is kind of the launching pad of where we had that big gap up the other day, but we held that level into Friday and kind of chopped around. So I think what you're going to want to do is to find direction on this 30-minute squeeze, drop down to your 5-minute and just watch the intraday fluctuations and how this kind of trades going into next week. So I do expect to see some chop into Friday or into Tuesday and Wednesday, meaning chop on Monday, because we do have PPI coming out and then on Tuesday and CPI on Wednesday. So, but initially here we can look for direction. We've got a little bit of support around that 520 area, but really that key area of support is right around that 519.60 where was the low of day on Friday. And then from there, we are kind of in this range right about here as well. This resistance area right around that 25, 21, 35. And we're kind of in a little bit of a range, but use this 5-minute to give you a sense of direction on what's going to happen on that 30-minute. And typically what likes to happen is we'll get a reversion to the mean on the daily time frame based on like a 30-minute squeeze. Typically, those can give us that move back to the 21 EMA. So we just have to be aware of that. But I also think it is possible that we push up to a 52-week high before pulling back because we did fire off a squeeze and momentum is still pushing higher. But you can see we're starting to get oversold. We're at 2 ATR. And even that horrible sell off where everybody was fearing the world was going to end, it was a push to 2 ATR. We barely got outside of 3 ATR and then reverted right back to the mean. So that's that. So that's kind of the game plan going into this week. Keep an eye on those lower time frames. Play small on Monday and wait for news to digest on Monday or Tuesday and Wednesday morning and kind of go from there. But here are these shorter term levels for range that we're in. That 520 is kind of key, so I'm going to mark that as well. But those are kind of your levels that you want to pay attention to going into this week, at least for the next kind of trade. And right now, the weekly is still intact. There's nothing too important on this weekly time frame, but I do want to spend a good bit of our time going over the weekly time frames on other areas of the market. But we can take a look at bonds. So here we've got a weekly squeeze. We're a little oversold, but I do think that we may see a continuation to the downside based on how this is looking if the daily can't clean itself up, right? So we need structure to flip. We got to get the EMAs to head back to the upside and kind of move these train tracks back to the upside rather than trending lower. But if we break below that 21 EMA, we're starting to lose momentum on the squeeze. We can look for it to head back into this previous lows right here. And then ultimately, if this triggers off this daily squeeze, that could create some further downside. But right now, we've got that 2 ATR move back to the mean. Now, it is quite probable that we could probably head back to this 109 area. So that's the bonds, which wouldn't be good for equities. And then dollar, we talked about this in live trading a little bit on Friday, but what we're seeing here is we're kind of seeing a potential breakdown. We've had a few closes under the 21 EMA. We've got the squeeze histogram moving to the downside. The EMAs are starting to falter a little bit, and we've got this trend line. So if we break that trend line, we could see a pretty nice push to the downside, which would help the markets, and we may see some sort of like trend like this to the downside. But we'll just have to see. It's pretty early to call that one. It's just pieces of the puzzle are starting to fall apart. And you can also see here that we've had one bar of lost momentum on the weekly time frame. And you can see when that happened here, we had this nice pullback to the downside. And yeah, so that's the dollar. VIX, don't have too much to say on this besides we're starting to head toward some key support. But I would expect once this kind of gets to 2 ATR, look for a bounce on the VIX. So I would go ahead and set a level and so then we can just be aware. Maybe position ourselves for some downside, which that would kind of coincide with the idea of bonds going lower or the ZB going lower and SPY being at 2 ATR. Now, a couple other things that I think need some time, but will be the next big trade will be QQQ. QQQ has a weekly squeeze forming as of last week. And I think that we could see some pretty good upside on this or a continuation of upside. Let's check out the monthly. Yeah, the monthly still got that monthly squeeze going. So I think this could just propel the next leg higher. We may be in this for a minute. As you can see, this one here, we're in a squeeze for one from September 25th to December. So maybe some time before we actually see a move on this. But I think a key thing to mark out would be this level here. Sorry, baby. He's fussing a little bit. Let's see, and we'll mark these kind of a different color so we know what this is, but we've had a few inside days or really weeks on this candle here. So we kind of want to pay attention to that and see maybe we break out from here. But I think this could be a rejection spot right around this area. So let's keep an eye on that. SPY doesn't have that same thing, but we've got kind of this pivot low here, and then we've got the highs here. So we're trading within that range as well. I think we may stay there for a while. We did push up higher than I initially expected this week, but we just had to adapt. And I'm thinking, I don't think we will break these highs. We might get a poke above, but I don't think we're going to see just a blast off. I think we need more time to develop a weekly squeeze in SPY, give QQQ more time to develop its weekly squeeze. But then I want to point you towards some other stocks that have a weekly squeeze. So Microsoft, this one is one dot in, but it looks really good. We have a solid uptrend. And we've got this monthly squeeze that is fired off. We've got the weekly and a nice trend. And I think this just like the market needs a little time to develop, but you can see we've got that key support there. So let's mark these levels here because they seem to be pretty key. They're playing a pretty important role. So we've got a few inside candles here. So I think a good trade would probably be if you can get an entry close to that 21 EMA and then a weekly close under the support level right here, that happens to be right around 398, would be a trigger that this is going to head lower. And then what you'll be looking for is a breakout of this level here. But I'm going to wait for some more signals to get me to lean in that direction of going long. But right now, I have a long bias on this. I just don't think it's time, right? And timing is really important when it comes to options contracts. AVGO, this is another one. Nice weekly squeeze. You can see we're kind of in a flag. This is probably my favorite pattern right now. But yeah, this one looks really good. Like it could see some more upside and continuation. Just a nice flag right into the 21, held it, and we've had really, let's get rid of this because you can see the flag pattern. But same thing here. Look, we've got multiple inside candles on this. Multiple inside candles, which we've been trading within the range of this candle right here for 3 weeks. So keep an eye on this one. I think that this could potentially have a big breakout, and maybe it's time we go test 1500. So keep an eye out for that. So those are the main tickers that I'm paying attention to going into this week. Thinkorswim is down right now as they're transitioning to swap, so I don't have access to my typical scanner. But these are the stocks that I really like going into this week. They're big, heavy hitting names, and I think that they're gearing up for another move. One that we've traded in the past, and I'll kind of just give it to you, is now. I think this one could be a nice breakout to the upside. You can see, here we go. Nice little support area here. And you can see we're waking right at that area. Similar story to, now you can notice, like, as we go through and look at these charts, you can see this candle holds a lot of weight of what's going to happen next with tech. So that's kind of a really important story that is being told right now. So you can see, like, with this candle here, the low was the previous all-time high, and we've wicked below it multiple times. Okay. And then if we go look at Microsoft, or well, go back to Adobe because that's what or ABGO, that's what we were just talking about. You can see, look, support, support, support. And so that's a really pivotal level as well for the ABGO. And then Microsoft, if we look at that one, you could see it was support, 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 and then support again. So this is a really key candle going into this week that I think can, well, really going into the next few weeks that you want to pay attention to these inside candles we are making on this higher time frame. So use that as your next level of direction. And I think QQQ is the one that's going to point you towards it. Is that level right there? The same thing. We tried to poke above it on Friday. Looks like we failed. Let's see if we can hold it. I'm sure the level is pretty similar on NQ. Yeah, let's see. We haven't even broke that on NQ. So there's your level there for NQ and your level there. And so yeah, that's kind of the key levels to watch into this week. So pay close attention to those. I think they could play a really key role in what goes on this in the next few weeks, whether we break out, whether we break down, or we continue to trade in a range for a while. I'm voting the last option. I think we may trade sideways for a while, but this is going to be your key breakout areas. And then same thing for SPY is a little different. We've already had that breakout, but let's keep an eye on that level as well. All right, guys. I hope this helps. And those are kind of the names that I'm watching into this week. So if you want to throw those on your charts, QQQ, Microsoft, AVGO, those are kind of some ones that you want to keep your eye on going into this week and the following weeks ahead. All right. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a great Mother's Day. And I'll see you for the markets this week.